Hey GlamFam, Linwood here, and today I have my good friend and brother in Christ, Earl, with me. He has so graciously volunteered for me to show you how to do interlocking. So please stay tuned, and of course I'll go through all of the steps with you. Now you guys know how I am. I'm purely about education, so I'm going to be breaking down what interlocking is for you first, show you the tools that we can use, and then from there we'll get right on into it. So if you're interested in seeing just the locking portion, zoom ahead. If you're interested in knowing all of the details, stay with me.
Alright GlamFam, so this is a locking tool I'm using. Description box has all the details. And then I also have this latch hook, which people usually use for crochet braids.
Alright you guys, so I'm going to start off here in the nape of the neck, and he has previously been shampooed. I actually asked him to shampoo before he came today, but I'm just going to go ahead and section off this nape area where he has this row of locks down here. I'm going to go ahead, as you guys can see, I've got the bands around my wrist. So I'm just going to secure the remainder of his hair up on the top of his head just to kind of keep it out of my way. Now from here I've got this area here at the base of the scalp, and I'll try to zoom in some so you guys can see. Give me one moment. There we go. So I've got this section of hair, and you guys can kind of see how much regrowth he has. I will tell you guys, whenever you are doing interlocking, you're going to want to keep in mind that you've got to have enough new growth to do so. So typically you're going to be doing this every 2 to 3 months, whereas with palm rolling, like I've shown you guys before in previous videos where I'd just be rolling to get it tighter, I would be getting that done every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the individual's hair texture as well as how well maintained it is. So as we're looking at it here, you guys can see it'll get you tight, but as soon as you let it go, it'll loosen back up and you can't move it in every direction. So interlocking works really well for people who are really active, people who have to shampoo more frequently, they have scalp conditions, things like that. So we want to keep that in mind. Now in Earl's instance, he has a nice coil pattern to his hair, but he also has a very soft texture of hair, so it's not able to perform as well with locking as a more coily texture potentially would. And just in case you guys are wondering why my hands and his scalp and hair are shining so much, I do have some jojoba oil in that hair as well, and it is slightly damp. So whenever you're doing this, you want to go in, and you're going to go in from the top, the right side, the underneath, and the left side, and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean here in just a moment. But whenever you're doing that, the easiest way for me to put it is you've got north, east, south, and west, and those are my areas I'm going to feed it through. For those of you who don't understand direction as well, you've got 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. So hopefully that works out a bit better for you. Now, as I showed you guys earlier, you can use a latch hook or a locking tool, and they have several different kinds. The kind I'm working with is this one right here, and I'll put a link in the description box below in case anyone is interested in getting one. I'm going to start off just by feeding that lock into the locking tool. So I'm just going to take it, feed it in there, and then just slide it into the little gap or the groove right there. From there I'm going to go ahead and go through the top, which would be me coming through at north. From there I'm going through at east. We're going to come back through at south. And then one more time at west. And usually if I'm working like this, I would typically like to end out on north, just so that way it's pointing downward and it's giving me that nice feel. Now as you guys can see, I am getting quite a bit of frizz on there. So the easiest way for me to deal with that, if I have a soft texture of hair that I'm working with, like Earl's, is I'm going to go ahead and begin to just take those small strands and wrap them all the way around this lock. So hold on, let me move my light a little closer so you guys can see better, and drown you guys out with some light here so you can see. Okay, so you guys can see here how it's tightened up just from me doing that, but we still have a bit of fuzz around the bottom of his lock. So I'm just going to take that hair, the little frizz there, I'm just going to slowly wrap it around for you. Now typically I would do this faster when I'm working with the hair because no one has all day for this. But I would go ahead and wrap it around there all the way down. And what that does, it just kind of smooths out the appearance of the lock and helps it to look nice and fresh. It also helps to condense that lock so it stays more mature. So you guys can see it tightens it all the way down to the scalp. And the nice thing is I can twist this hair, I can move it, I can pull it up, I can maneuver it however I'd like to, and it's gonna hold in place for me. So as I'm going through there, I'm gonna go through some general guidelines with you, and I'm just gonna kind of be talking as I'm doing. So that way I can still be getting this done, because I'm sure Earl has things to do today. But you want to keep in mind the tension of when you're doing this, because of course you are going to be dealing with that person's scalp. You don't want to be causing any traction alopecia due to pulling the hair too tight. So you just want to keep in mind, if it feels like it's going to be too snug when you're going through there, don't hesitate to ask your client if that feels okay, if it feels too tight as you're going through. And that way, if you need to, you can pull right on back out and loosen it back up. Now, just in case you guys are wondering, because I know you guys are probably always like, where are these different models and friends and stuff coming from? Earl and I met through a mutual friend, Jonathan. He and Jonathan used to do quite a bit of Christian rap and things like that together. Earl's an excellent drummer, and he's also a Christian rapper. He's a very good friend and a great man of God, I'll tell you that. And he has several different projects that he's constantly working on, because he is working hard. He's grinding constantly, and that's a good quality, let me tell you. So I'll tell you guys now, his SoundCloud will be linked in the description box down below, as well as his website. And that way, if you're interested, you can check it out. Please make sure to check out the description box. Don't ask me in the comments for that information. As much as I love you guys, please read. So hopefully, if you guys are interested and you'd like to know a bit more about Earl and his talents, you can go ahead and check that out. He will be coming out with a book in the year 2018, just in case you guys are watching after 2018. And from there, he's also coming out with a new, it's an EP, isn't it, Earl?
Yeah.
A new EP next year, which, what's that? It stands for Extended Play, if I'm not mistaken. So it's basically similar to an album, but not quite as long or lengthy in terms of the amount of tracks on it.
Right. Yeah,
okay.
you got it.
Look at me, educated and stuff. So, as you guys can see, I'm just continually going through this process here. And the nice thing about doing this technique is for people who are really active, they have scalp conditions where they're having to shampoo extremely frequently, it allows you to easily tighten up those locks and get them taken care of. So I'm just going to go ahead and knock this one out, and I'll show you along the back the 3 that I just tightened compared to the 3 that I didn't, and then of course I'll jump from there to the end of the video and let you guys see the finished look. So hopefully you guys have been able to kind of pick up and tag along. These are my 3 that we just tightened. This one here I can still have a need of kind of wrapping some of these little fine hairs, but hopefully you guys can see how tight that is there. Let me roll you around to this other side. Okay, so you guys can see these 3 here I have tightened. So you see how tight they are all the way up to the scalp, but notice that scalp is not puckered up, so they're not overly tight. It's still comfortable for him. I can pull it up without him feeling like he's dying, which is always lovely. And then on this side we've got that new growth in there, and it's important that you have enough new growth. So if you don't, you want to go ahead and palm roll, and you can palm roll in between retightening these, just so you know, if you want to keep them fresh, especially for a photo shoot or something like that. Now you guys can see on this lock here, we've got some hair that's kind of slid out of his lock because his hair is as fine as it is. So I would just start off with that by taking this excess hair and wrapping it around the lock like so. And then from there, I can just kind of begin to feed it through at north. And you guys can see I'm starting off with my fingers here. So if that hair has a bit of a longer space in there, you do not have to use a locking tool. I've even seen some people use safety pins, which to me, I mean, I understand, but it can be a lot more work that way, in my opinion. So yeah, I guess I should show you guys if you're using the latch hook. Let me go ahead and show you that. If you're using a latch hook, you just take it through there. I know some people are going to be like, that's a crochet hook, honey. I know how to crochet. This is a latch hook. I also know how to latch hook. I used to do rug making as well as crocheting with my grandmother because she was a seamstress and was very big into crafting. So don't come for me, boo. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and pull right on through there. And you guys can see you can do the same thing with a latch hook, but for me it's a little bit more work because I'm having to constantly kind of feed in and out through there. So whatever your preference is or whatever your budget is, because I'll tell you there's a big difference between the price of these two tools, you're able to easily do so. If you're planning on just doing it for a friend or something, go ahead and use your latch hook, that's fine. If you're planning on doing it for a living, you probably want to go ahead and get the right tools for the job. Don't be a kitchen beautician. From there, I will just go ahead and get into locking the rest of this here. I will tell you guys, when you're doing this on a typical head of hair, for an experienced person, it'll take you about 1.5 to 2 hours. For a novice stylist, it can take considerably longer than that. So most people charge by the hour for this service rather than a flat rate. But I'm not going to go into the details of that because, of course, costs and all that will vary based on your location as well as how good you are at what you do, because people pay for what you're worth. All right, you guys, so as you can see here, we're getting up towards the top, but I wanted you guys to be able to see the difference in how tight it is here, but see how I can still take it, move it any direction, and no matter what, it still has that same tightness through there. That lock freely flows. You guys can see how smooth these are looking. And then I want you guys to kind of see the difference between that and the top, where we've got the new growth area, the frizz around the lock. So I will say, while this does take a little bit more time, it is definitely worth it. We can go ahead and smooth out little areas like this here that we're seeing in the head. So if you feel like you've learned something from this, make sure to let me know in the comment box down below. And of course, you guys know I appreciate and love you as usual. But when I get completely finished, I'll show you guys a total look on this head of hair. And yeah, we'll go ahead and move from there. Alright, you guys, so this is the finished look here. You guys can see how clean those part lines are looking, how smooth those locks are looking all the way down. So hopefully you like it. Of course, let me know what you think in the comment box down below as usual. And if you have any video requests, be sure to let me know those as well. Until next time, you guys, take care and God bless and stay glam. Love you. Bye-bye.